Greetings, fellow speculators. There's a little oil exploration company I like to follow called FAR Limited, FAR, on the Australian markets. This company made some nice discoveries the last 2004. 2 wells. They got Cairn Energy to foot the bill, and then ConocoPhillips came in and put up even more money to go drill the heck out of this thing. And now just recently, Cairn, their partner, did a presentation in the British markets in London about how awesome of a discovery they made and how they were looking to drill the heck out of it, develop it, and take it full circle. So I just made a little video about that. It's on YouTube, or you can also find it on my website, ProsperousAdventure.com. But I wanted to point out a new presentation that it's a week or two old, but I just noticed on FAR's website from their annual general meeting. So let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. I like to go through the presentations and see if I can present them as a teacher. As teachers, you learn more when you try to be a teacher than when you're studying stuff on your own. And so if you don't mind, I'd like to try to present their presentation, see if I can do them some justice. So this is FAR Senior Management, Kath Norman. That's the one I've always talked to there. She's very responsive, very descriptive. I believe she's got a great following of shareholders that just love her updates and what she's doing. And so there's a picture of her and the rest of the guys on the team. Very, very technical. So one of the first slides is an elephant trunk sticking out of the water. And they say, yes, there are elephants lurking under Singhalese waters. Quite creative. So 2014 highlights. This presentation is directed to be delivered as like a State of the Union or something, like their annual update. So they said 2 world-class discoveries offshore Senegal. These are updates you probably already know if you've been following FAR, but if you haven't, this is a great introduction. They made 2 finds. One of them's Fan 1 and the other is SNE 1, 2 wells. Basin open and discoveries. These are big things. They're saying they hit 2 for 2 of what they're drilling. They're saying one of the wells, the SNE 1, ranked #1 discovery for 2014. I mean, there's lots of ways to rank these things, but I mean, it's a big, awesome looking discovery. They got carried for $200 million of the drilling by Cairn Energy and ConocoPhillips. That's even better. That's my favorite part. You get someone else to pay the bills to go see what your dreams and hopes really are, instead of testing them with your own money or printing shares and using the shareholders' money. So at the end of the year, they ended up with $67 million. They did print some shares. They raised $55 million. Help grease the gears to use the bigger money from the bigger companies to test these things. The first two deep water wells offshore Senegal. They got a lot of room to go explore the neighborhood. So here they're looking at their market. They're saying most of the market is Australia. There's some Europeans in there, a couple Asians, a couple North Americans, and the rest of anybody else. It's mostly Australian people speculating on this thing. The share price at the time of this presentation is 9.5 cents. I think it's like 10 something at the time that I'm making this video. Market cap 294. I think it's just over 300 million Australian. Cash 67 million. Average broker rating by up to 20 cents Australian. They're benchmarking themselves to the Australian 100 and also to Brent, to oil prices. Oil prices dropped same time they made this discovery, but they created value. They found something that wasn't known to be there before, and that took their share price higher. That's one of the sweetest things about discovering natural resources. If you can find it cheaper than you can produce it or bring it to the market, you create value, and your share price can go up in a down market. And that's exactly what happened to this little penny stock. They were trading around 4 cents. This chart looks like 14 cents. I remember watching the screen as that thing was shooting up on those. It was halted, and watching Bloomberg, it was like 15, 17, 18 cents before the market opened, but it opened at like 14 something, 15 cents. Then bounced around and hasn't made it back up there since. Now you've got all kinds of information. It's cheaper than it was back then. They did do that financing though. Far in Africa, they've got couple projects: Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Kenya. The focus is obviously Senegal with those finds now. Here's Kath with, I believe it's the president of Senegal. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think it's this lady that's got the petroleum geologist background that's running Senegal, and I think she and Kath just hit it off, and they do their deals and make it happen. They're talking about this country being a stable place to do business for almost 200 years, which is like unheard of in Africa. More statistics and pictures. Senegal, they're drilling in, big picture, country, project. Now we're looking at the project. Joint venture partners are FAR, 15%. That's them. Cairn Energy at 40% is the operator. ConocoPhillips 35% for putting up a lot of money. And Petrosen 10%. They get carried for free. That's basically the government's oil company. Farm-ins by ConocoPhillips and Cairn for $196 million plus $10 million in cash. They got $10 million cash up front, and then $196 million to cover costs. 2 discoveries in Fan 1, SNE1 wells. They show a map of where those are, and they also show the Cosmos turtle discovery just off the northern border of Senegal, probably going over into Senegal as they keep working on it. That was announced by Cosmos just recently, and some of the guys in the internet or different sources are saying that could be the largest gas discovery ever in Africa, anywhere in Africa. I mean, 12 TCF gas kind of estimates. I mean, huge size gas. That should turn the lights on for this whole neighborhood. So you've got oil on FAR and Cairn and Conoco's projects here, and now gas to the north, and exploration going up and down this coast. If you look at my other videos, I talk about some of the other companies that are speculating on projects in the area. Senegal prospects and leads in their block, drilling it even further. You've got a whole bunch of plays and different ideas of what they could go drill and figure out and hopefully turn into oil and gas in this section of the ocean that they've got staked out. Here's a seismic section, schematic of what they're looking at and what they're targeting, and it actually worked. Here's some more technical details or cartoon of what they believe is there, and extrapolating around the neighborhood off of seismic information and some size numbers of what they believe, probability 90, 50, and 10. I mean, you get some big size oil in place potential targets. Here's an amplitude section of the area of this field that their Fan 1 discovery that they drilled into. They think it's got large size. SNE1 discovery, that's the one that is just looking sweet on all the statistics. And they get into more technical details of the find and lots of numbers and data points and geological interpretations of these fields and how they believe it works and what they're shooting at and hitting it from different directions, and what the other plays around them look like in 3D kinds of pictures laid out in a slide so you can kind of see what they're looking at. Here's a ranking of their prospects, a size, what they believe the size of each one of these prospects could be. Here's shelf prospects, drilling in more and more technical details and how they're ranking these things along the way. There's a serious prospect, drawing lines across that prospect and what the different hills in there might be nice to hit, or maybe they can stack the Bellatrix one on the other one and stack them up and whack a couple with the same hole. So those are prospects that they're hoping to drill later this year. And Senegal undrilled prospect inventory, they're talking about big size, lots of unrisked stuff there. Unrisked best estimates. I mean, they're definitely risky, still got to go drill them. But that's the opportunity. If they can drill them, prove them up, and whack them They can look at chances of discoveries from all the technical detail that they have compared to the size of the prospect, best estimate size, and the kinds of reservoirs that they're aiming at, and go drill through those and see what they can hit. And that's how an oil company starts to rank these things. They use all the data that they have to create a target list and go from one on down the list as far as they have money and nerve to do it. Valuation work program. Here's the team doing all kinds of data and technicals to get the big guys interested in going after it. Here's politicians. More technical information, exploration drilling. They're talking about the 3 targets that they want to hit. That it's not up to them. Karn's the operator, so they'll be the ones that decide, but FAR will try to give them as much input and help and pointing as they can. And they want to get the Bellatrix, Sirius, and Soleil projects targeted. We'll see if those are the ones that are hit, drilled, and hopefully successful, and then Karn was talking about maybe even 6 of them, but starting with 3 and going for 6 depending on the results. More seismic work that they'd like to collect. Industry costs are coming down. I mean, a lot of people are not doing exploration work like this because the oil prices have been down. It's been harder to get money to go do those explorations. Labor pressure is also expected to ease from fall in demand. Here's some of the pictures or ideas from these look very much like what Karn Energy had in their presentations. Maybe they're both getting them from the same place, or they're borrowing each other's stuff. These are the ideas of how you could develop them. Modern technologies make it pretty easy to do a network of pipes and cables and stuff on the ocean floor, and not a whole bunch of infrastructure on top of the ocean to go collect the oil and gas and bring it back to one centralized location. Kind of a hub and spoke idea, or Medusa's web of collection units collecting oil and gas, hydrocarbons, to bring it back to a processing and offloading facility. Then the oil and gas never even touches the shore. It just goes to market where they can process it and probably bring a little bit back to the country to sell them for their demands, but basically gets marketed to the world at world prices. Senegal economics. They think this stuff is economic at lower oil prices. Their IRRs are at different oil prices. It's looking nice at $50 a barrel. Project timeline. I'm sure the stuff will change along the way. We're partway into 2015. There's an annual general meeting in green. That's what this presentation is for. And beyond that, we should see more well planning and reprocessing more 3D seismic. 3 wells should start 4th quarter of 2015, and then more wells, contingent wells beyond that. We'll see if they keep drilling, and maybe we get some more finds out of Senegal. The question in the back of my mind before we move on is how do they pay for all this? So they got some cash, but they gotta go heads up with the big oil companies percentage wise from here. Do the big oil companies buy out FAR and that's the end of the day? We just get a stock in them, cash stock, something like that, and do it on their finances? Or does FAR go as far as they can, start diluting down their projects from there? They bring in another partner, dilute down their projects a little bit, use some cash a little bit. There's a couple different ways to get the recipe to work. We'll see how they do it to unlock more value. So Guinea-Bissau is south of Senegal, and they're working there too. The finds to the north should increase the prospectivity in Guinea-Bissau, make it a lot easier to bring in more partners. They've got some set up. They've got Svenska as an operator, and they have another partner, Sinepa. Not exactly sure who the partners are off the top of my head. There's something I should go research. But I believe they need partners to really finance the drilling and make these things happen. Kenya, they've got these fields offshore Kenya. I believe as BP made a find to the south and believes that this kind of old reef structure in blue here is quite prospective because of that nice looking find that BP made. This concession in the middle is theoretically up for grabs, and I think FAR's been going after it, negotiating and trying to use, different industry equipment to hit this thing. I believe FAR has seismic work across this where nobody else probably does, and so they've got these two blocks on either side, and because of their seismic work in the middle, they could probably do joint venture deals with other companies that are interested in this block to get a hold of it, get someone else to pay to drill it, using FAR's seismic work to make it happen. So they think they've got a secret ingredient to maybe get control of this concession as well as this whole, basically lock up this whole play. BP would be the ideal partner to bring in. So you keep waiting for news releases on this this play and this layout. You think it'd be hard, or it'd be easier to get the concession in down oil market, but who knows? Maybe speculation's picked up and I'm missing something. But they've been trying for it, and we'll see if they get all the way through and get it. If not, they've got these other pieces of the play. They should be able to get partners to work on either way. And then I'm not familiar with their projects in Australia. I'm just going to skip that part. They're talking about helping the community in Senegal, and basically coming back to a summary of the presentation, they made some finds in Senegal. They're one of them is ranked as #1 discovery worldwide for 2014. Let's see you come up with that very often. It just doesn't happen. A little penny stock to boot. And that's a beautiful thing as a speculator. And following a management team like that into the next and the next find could be a very financially rewarding endeavor. So they're saying contact us. So the same way they're saying contact us, I'd like to hear your inputs and suggestions, or good and bad, of this about this company in the comments below. If you're interested in updates like this, I'd also recommend you sign up to my YouTube channel, and likewise go to FAR's website at this far.com.au and sign up to their news releases, and so you can be the first to hear when they have something new to say as well. Thanks for listening.